everybody. Hello, I'm in the River Shack tonight. First time we tried anything with the internet out here, so let me know what it sounds like and what it looks like tonight. Hello, today is just chatting. We're going to chat. I think I'm finally going to tell you about what's been going on with me, but we'll see if we get to that. So, boy, it still says I have a low signal, and I do not. So this has got to be a StreamYard thing. Looks and sounds fine? Okay. I'm trying not to talk too loud because I got the window open. There was just a deer that came right in front of this window here just a few minutes ago. So, yeah, I know that if I want to do a sail out here, that I can use the table behind me and I can go out on the porch by the river. You hear static. You hear static? Is John the only one that hears static? Yeah, there is a cute little table there. And I got some cute things in that window. I don't know if I can show you here. Let's see if I take this off here. See, I got a dragonfly thing above the window, and I got a flower hanging there. Yeah. Okay, now I gotta fix it again. No static. It's just for you. You hear a little bit of static. Maybe it's. I'll take the echo. Or reduce background noise. Okay. How's that? I mean, I just took the background noise out. Maybe it was trying to get the birds and stuff. Maybe that's a little bit better. Whew. Great. Is that better? Do you still hear the birds chirping? I never took the background noise out before, so I don't. That's better? Okay, yeah. It's right by the window, so it's trying to get all the wildlife that's outside. So anyway, I just heard from George, and let me go ahead and paste the link for the sale tomorrow. And there it is. So you can still get in there and bid. George is coming in, and he is going to get up so he can be in with us at 7 o'clock his time. So that's really cool. He's going to come help us tomorrow. Let me pull this down just a little bit. Well, I'm monkeying around with the sound. I don't know what the static is. So let me try the and see if this is better. Because I want you to hear the birds. So anyway, he'll be here tomorrow. That'll be great fun. The auction starts at 11, and we have a lot of bidding online. You can go to that catalog and bid. Okay, great. You just fed your hummingbirds. We call them bugs, Kitschy. We call our hummingbirds bugs. And John's got, I don't know. He's got 2 feeders. I don't know how often he feeds them. He'll probably tell you. He's listening. I'll bet you he must change that feeder at least once every 2 days. So yeah, I'm back here, and I cannot believe I have internet back here. This is pretty wild, where I can run a video. You feed them every other day too? Yep. So I want to tell you a little bit about why I discovered why I liked this so much, and you know, we're chatting about anything tonight. So all you have to do is bring something up and we'll talk about it, or ask something and we'll talk about it. We haven't done this in a long time, and we're just going to do it tonight. So this is kind of a funny thing. So when I was growing up and going to school, I lived in the city, and we lived a half a mile from Detroit Metro Airport. So there were airplanes going over. We were on a runway constantly. It was so funny because John came to live with our family, and he worked at a dealership in Wayne, where they just had this church shooting this week. And He couldn't believe the noise that we had at the house with all the planes going over. I mean, I could literally wave to the pilots, and that's how low they were. But we didn't hear the planes. It was we were totally oblivious to it. I don't know. I guess it's like people that live on a railroad. They don't hear the train go by after a certain amount of time. But anyway, my dad bought the farm right next to this farm. And I think he bought it in 78. I was 13 years old. And it was such a big deal. I mean, we had to go out into the country, and this house that he bought was a kind of a dilapidated farmhouse. And I remember growing up, I was 13 and I did not really want to come out to the country at this point. I mean, I wanted to stay home, but I was drug into it, and then I ended up loving it. So the house we bought at an auction, and we actually bought 2 farms at that auction in 1978. And our family bought an old trailer, and here I am, a teenager, you know, and here my dad comes with a 1955 little travel trailer, parks it outside the house. And every weekend for, I don't know, must have been off and on 2 years, we came to the farm on the weekends. It was a 90-mile trip, and worked on that farmhouse. And all 5 of us stayed in that camper. Can you imagine that, being a teenager? Oh my gosh. And I was the oldest. But anyway, so I grew to really, really love this place. And the farm that he bought had this same river behind it. And I remember fondly, we wanted to go swimming in the river, but the river was in the woods. So we would put our tube socks on and our jeans and our long sleeve sweatshirts, and we would spray down with mosquito spray and literally run through the woods till we got to the river, strip everything off, and jump in. And, you know, that's what we did, and we loved it. We were just city kids. So as time went on, a couple years, he dug a big pond, and every time we had a get together or during the weekends, we would go back and picnic back there. So I think that's what I'm trying to capture with this, because this is what I love to do. I love to come back, hear the sounds of the river, see the animals, just enjoy the solitude. And it dawned on me that that's what I used to do when I was a kid. So anyway, yeah. So do you guys, is there anybody out there of you that had like a total change in their living arrangement? Like you were country people and you moved into town, or you were townies and you moved out in the country like me? I literally moved out here the day after I graduated and got a job. And I lived in my dad's house for 5 years. I took care of 10 acres of grass. I took care of the house, and I started my business. There was a little gas station on the property, and I started my business there in 1984. So, yeah. And so when this property came up, John, when did we buy this piece? I think it was about 10 years later. I think it was 89. And the farm right next door came up for sale. And the gal that lived in the house, her name was Sadie, and she was over 100 years old. And the house was nothing but, it had no electricity, no running water, oil lamps, and that's it. And I bought the house and 10 acres for $5,000. And I did it because I wanted to be next door to mom and dad. And I have lived next door to them ever since I graduated from, well, like I said, I lived in their house for 5 years when I graduated from college in 87. And then I moved here in 92. And I've been next door my whole life. Let me hear what Tammy has to say. I started out country. Then my mom left my dad and moved us to city life, but always came to the country to visit my dad. And as soon as I got old enough, I moved in with my dad in the country life. Yeah. I don't know. I really liked it. I always had wanted to go to a high school in Homer, which is the next town over. But it didn't work out that way. The timing was just not right. So I ended up coming out after college. Okay. So what do you guys want to talk about? I can tell you what's been going on with me. It's kind of difficult, and I was thinking about it yesterday, how I was going to tell you. And there's really three aspects of this. One is what I'm going through now. Two is what I was going through shortly before this all happened. And then something that happened really for 20 years that led up to it. So I want to ask you guys first, because when this has happened to me, I had this illusion that all families were perfect, that all families got along, that all families just didn't go through some of these things that I've been going through. Is that true? Is there a perfect family out there? Now there's 30 of you here. I didn't want to share this, so I wanted to keep it intimate, but I have shared my story with a couple of you, and it really has made me feel better, because I've had a lot of guilt, thinking that, we have to have the perfect family, right? So that's why I'm talking to you about this, because I know that we have enough experience that you guys will understand. Maybe you'll understand. I don't really understand myself, but this is something that had started happening back in February. And I'm not going to tell you the whole story, okay? Like I said, there's 3 separate things, and I think I'm going to only handle one right now. And this is what happened in February, okay? Let me hear what you're saying. No perfect family, Froggy. Nothing in life is perfect. Everyone has issues. I thought that too. I found out the hard way. Well, growing up, my dad wanted us to be the perfect family. My grandmother was married 8 times, maybe more. She was they used to tell me she was fickle. And we know what that means, really. I hope it doesn't get too dark in here. I'll turn some lights on. So my dad was the oldest of, I don't know how many kids, a lot. And he was out of the house at 15. And my grandma would run around, and when he was there, he had stepkids, stepbrothers and sisters. It was chaos, of course. And so he tried to do the best he could with us. And he did. He really did. And I don't know where I was going with that. But he always, we were the perfect family. We were just the perfect family. And I don't know. I guess I thought that if you were family, it meant that you were family. Tammy, your mom was married 4 times. Okay. I'm going to come out with that. You got married. I know you said you got married at 15. Okay. So, I think I'm going to give you a little background about my mom and dad. Now, my dad was a very hard worker, and he didn't have much of an education, about 8th grade. But he worked hard. He worked darn hard. And when he started a project, he was just only had one way of viewing it, things straight ahead. He did nothing else till he ended that project. And he built near the airport, he built a big commercial complex. He built it himself. I mean, huge 10,000-foot buildings. He built one, then mortgaged that to build another, then mortgaged that to build another. And by the time he was, I don't know, 45, he had them all done. And, he rented all those buildings out. Very hard worker. And his dream was to buy land. And he came out here and he's bought like a little over 300 acres in this area. So my dad is property rich, I guess you would say. But he sold everything in Detroit too. So, I really don't know. I really don't know, but I know he's always been frugal his whole life. So, and like I said, I'm not going to tell you the beginning of this. This is where I'm at now. Maybe for another chit chat, we'll talk about earlier times, or if you want to ask me, I might. But I'm going to tell you the situation I have to deal with now. So, John and I, if you recall, we went to Tawas in February, which is the little, the cutesy little town on Lake Huron. And we had gone up there. And we always go up there midwinter break. It's fun. We were right in town. You guys know. You remember I was there, I'm sure. So we had seen my father a little bit before we left. And like I said, I saw him every day. He lived next door. And we came home. And I had a terrible cold. I didn't want to go over and see him because, he's 89 years old. So I waited a few days and I kept going by the house, and it looked like he wasn't there. But right before we left, he told me he had furnace problems and that my brother was getting him a part for his furnace. So I figured that he was with my brother or sister. But I didn't know for sure. He doesn't have a cell phone. But after a day or so, his car was back and the shades were pulled. And so I went and knocked at the door, and there was no dad. So I'm like, what is going on? So I called the sheriff for a wellness check. And the sheriff went in there and had to break into the house. I did not know where my father was. And my dad wasn't there. So my brother, who has been, he's kind of moved away the last 25 years. He just moved back in one of my dad's farmhouses in last August. So he'd been home. He'd been back a few months. And he just was staying at that house. So the officers went over to my brother's house. And they told the officers to tell me that my dad was, he was okay and that he was being well cared for. That's what they told me. And I'm like, I didn't know if he had died, if he had a heart attack. I didn't know anything. I still know nothing. And I mean nothing. And so I went for a couple days, didn't know where he was. And my brother would not tell me where he was. And no one told me where he was. And I live right next door. Yeah, I had no idea. So the only thing that I thought he had, and if you guys are bored with this, I'll stop. I mean, seriously, my problems probably are boring. But anyway, so I know. So anyway, I had thought that he was anemic, and he had a couple episodes during his life where he had some internal bleeding and he would black out. So I figured that's what happened. His life alert went out, right? And they took him to the hospital. So I called the hospitals, couldn't find him. And I'm like, we're going to try the nursing homes. We're going to try the nursing homes. So we did. And we went into a nursing home. We went into a nursing home, and there was my dad. My mother is also in a nursing home, and she has Alzheimer's, and she can't even talk or eat hardly. And my brother put my dad into a nursing home. We found him. I guess we should have looked there first. I had no clue in the world that this was happening. No clue in the world. I live next door. No one left a note in my mailbox. Nobody called. Nobody said anything. So there he was on March 1st. And so I heard a deer. And so John and I went over and talked to him. And don't worry about this. This, like I said, I can handle talking about it now. It's been a while. So we're getting to that, Susan. So we find him, sit down, he's having lunch, talk with him. I ask him the things that a normal daughter would ask. Dad, what happened? Are you okay here? Do you like it? This looks like a nice place. It looks like you're having a nice lunch. I didn't want to get him excited or anything. He didn't really know what happened to him. He just said he ended up there. He said, I guess I'm incompetent. I don't know what is going on. They won't let me leave. And I said, well, I still said, well, Dad, this is a nice place. Maybe this is where you should be, although I didn't think it. So anyway, he said his TV wasn't working. So we went into his little apartment. He showed us, and it wasn't working. He needed a remote. We said, we'll go get your remote. We'll bring it back. So we left. That was a Saturday. I couldn't come back until Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday. I don't know. I don't have a calendar here. When we went back, there was my dad again. And we went to go put his remote. We saw him in the lobby eating again. Went to go put his remote in, and the staff said the TV is fixed. And I said, oh, okay. But we bought this remote, so why don't we go fix it to the TV, and then he'll have two. And if he loses one, he'll have two. So Dad and I and John started down the hallway to his room. The nursing home locked the door to his room. And they told him that he locked it, which he couldn't have locked his room. Residents can't lock their room like that. So they told my dad he was nuts. He must have locked the room. Okay. We went back to where the lobby was and sat down and talked a little bit. Come to find out, it was me they were locking out of his room. And I still have no idea why. So we sat there and talked, and we sat in the lobby and talked, and just normal talk. Nothing out of the ordinary. We're watching the news. And then all of a sudden, one of the staff members comes running at me and says, we're going to kick you out of here. And I just looked at her, and I didn't know what she was even talking about, because we weren't causing any kind of commotion or anything. So finally, it was time to go, and I can't remember all the details, but we got up, went to the front desk to check out, and they told me that my visitation rights were going to be restricted. And John and I just couldn't believe it. And that I would get a call from the nursing director the next day, and he was going to be talking to my brother. So I can't remember all the details, but I left. My dad made it clear when I was there that he wanted out of that nursing home. He didn't know why he was in there. I kind of agreed with him. Yeah, Kara, this has been happening. So, I didn't hear from the nursing director the next day that I thought I was going to. I didn't. So Friday, John and I went back to the nursing home again, saw my dad, went to visit him in the lobby, where they have a fireplace and a TV. And John, if I missed something, let me know. But anyway, we were visiting for a while. We went to my dad's room first. And my dad's his room was open. He was apparently kind of druggy. He had no clothes. And he told me he had no clothes because he tried to get out, he said, and I can't leave because they don't give me any clothes. So as soon as they saw that we were in there, 3 staff came in and tried to dress my dad. They got him. He says, "What are you guys doing? You never dressed me before." But they were trying to dress him so that they would get me out of his room. And we went down to the lobby again to talk. And this time, I was talking to my dad, and I told my dad when we were in the lobby, I said, "I have a feeling this isn't good." I said, "I put my phone number in your phone book, and I put it under H. And I said, that's the only way you're going to be able to get a hold of me. Something is going to happen here." And this was March 7th. This is the last time I saw my dad. So the sheriff came in. The sheriff came in and escorted me out. And 3 of them, actually. And the nursing home director was so rude, but I just stood there and took it. John and I didn't say a word. And we were told that we could not visit my father again. And you know me. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. So I haven't been able to talk to my dad. After I was kicked out, my dad called me. I do have an attorney. I'm trying to get guardianship. I have a brother and a sister. So after I was kicked out, and my dad said that my brother told him he knows nothing. He can't do anything. He's just he's deemed incompetent. And my dad says, "I want to get out. I've worked my whole life for this property, and I want to die on my farm." And I wanted to help him stay there because I'm next door. And we had John's mom and dad home, into his mom into her mid-90s and his dad into he just turned 80. We had hospice there, but I knew how important it was for them to be home, and I wanted dad to be home too if he could. But I did not get a chance to tell him that. He called me after I got kicked out. He found my number in the book. This is somebody that supposedly can't do anything. He found my number in the phone book. He dialed me, called me, told me to get an attorney. And he says, "It can't be the attorney your brother has because I think it's the same. I think we have the same attorney. You're going to have to get somebody else." And I said, "Okay, Dad." We talked 28 minutes. And when he hung up, I told him to call me in a few days, and he didn't call me. So I called the nursing home. They took his phone number. They took his phone off the hook. They took his phone off the hook. Are your brother and father controlling this? Or brother and sister? Yes. Here's what happened. Now I have an attorney, and I've been trying my whole objective, and I wish my dad could understand this. But I haven't been able to talk to him. My whole objective was to get guardianship of my dad. And I told him, I said, "Dad, if you take the competency test, you will pass it. And if I try to get guardianship, they'll make you take this test. You will pass it. And then you can walk out on your own accord." I said, "You can walk out now." And he said, "No, I can't. The nursing director will not let me, and I'm afraid of him." So anyway, you see where all this is going. And my dad did not know and does not know. Ooh, what was that? There's a deer out there. Just does not know. Yeah, I want to get another light here because it's getting dark. Hang on here. Let me see. Hang on, I want to get another light here. What's out there? You watch them. I can't believe I'm telling you this. I can't believe I'm telling you guys this. See why I didn't want to, because it's really a long story, and I'm just telling you what has been going on. So they took his phone. We could not call him. He could not call us. I did get an attorney. I had to put, a $5,000 retainer. I'm trying to get guardianship. But at this time, it's been since March 1st. He's 89 years old. I don't know what condition he's in. He's been told so much about me. I don't even know what he's been told. It can't be good. Well, the lawyer, I don't think anything works well with the lawyer. I really don't. I mean, I think my whole purpose was guardianship. I don't really want to be in charge of the money end of it. My whole intention was to get my dad home. I don't know if he can come home at this point. I've got some big decisions to think about. But, Kitschy was telling me power of attorney. When they kicked me out of the nursing home, they threw my brother's power of attorney at me. That was how they kicked me out of the nursing home. But my brother doesn't have power of attorney that isn't fiduciary. And my dad was competent. So it was all done not illegally. I don't know how to explain it. It was done unethically. You know what, Kitschy? I'm sorry, I'm moving around here. It would seem, I'm not going to make any accusations, but it would seem my brother has the same name as my dad, and I've seen things the last 6 months that he was here that I don't know. It would seem. But anyway, that's what I've been going through. So there is more to the story. Like I said, there's more to the 6 months leading up to this. I think maybe we'll wait for another day to tell you that, so you'll even understand the story more. I have a court date of August 11th. But anyway, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, and that's why I told you guys in the beginning. I said, does anybody have the perfect family? Because I wonder if we do. A family member tried to be a power of attorney for your husband's mom. Yep. Hello. I don't know. But I have stayed positive. And what is that? I keep looking for the deer. And, I could not tell you guys at first. I just couldn't tell you guys. But it's better now with Eileen and Trudy. I've talked to them about it. I probably drove them nuts at first. Now I'm just kind of, I have this time in between, and I'm kind of just absorbing everything. And, nobody wants to go through a trial. I don't want to go through a trial, but I'm kind of in it. I'm doing it because my dad asked me to do it at 89 years old, and it's going to be like 7 months. So I don't know. I don't know what my brother and sister are thinking. I know it was getting to the point where he, needed a housekeeper. It would have been nice if he had a new bathroom, something that was better for him, a in and out shower. But he was getting along pretty good. He was still driving. Um, Being kicked out by the sheriff is very weird. I know it. And there isn't even a police report. Now the nursing home is saying that my brother had nothing to do with me being kicked out, that it was the nursing home and that I caused a ruckus. And the director told me he had cameras 24 hours a day. So they can watch the cameras. I never raised my voice. I never did anything. But I think they're in trouble because they had me kicked out under false pretenses with my brother. They are saying there wasn't even a sheriff there. But when we left, we took pictures. And there wasn't an actual sheriff's report because we were so cooperative, we just walked out. So what they filed was, instead of a sheriff's report, it was a sheriff's event. Your lawyer should send a note to the nursing home to save all the video. Oh, I turned the nursing home in to the state of Michigan, so they're in some trouble right now. Let's see what I'm going to try to catch up with comments. But anyway, I hate to put this on you. But in the same breath, I think you should know, especially when this first happened, I was a scatterbrain, and I hope you forgive me. I was a scatterbrain. And then I had George's benefit and teak stock and all of that coming together at once in the power lines. Thank goodness I have a lot lighter load off my plate. It's healthy to share. It is, Timmy. That's why I'm sharing. And Denise. And so everybody knows. And truthfully, it's hard to tell people because you think they're going to think you're the bad person. What did you do? And it's like, this is an unbelievable nightmare. And for me, it's like, I can handle it. For my father, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. He must have just given up, or he's been drugged so badly. It's just unbelievable they took his rights away. Now he took a cognitive test in April, and it said he had normal age-related cognitive decline. That does not mean that he's not capable of making his own decisions. So he still, as of the end of April, could have walked out and they wouldn't let him. And honestly, he probably doesn't know that he could have done that. Oh my God, Froggy, he did say that. He told John and I both, I feel like I'm in prison. No, Patty, we help each other. That's why I'm telling you, because I'm telling you guys, because I consider you guys my family and my friends. It is. It's too bad. But anyway, at the end of the day, you know that you are doing all you can for your dad. Just remember that. Yes, and I pretty much have decided that I need to divert this energy. If I need to do something positive and not dwell on this if it's out of my control. Do what I can because my dad asked me to. But like I said, another chit chat, I'm going to tell you the story that led up to this. And that is going to blow your mind. I don't think we'll do it today. It's just too much. But the 6 months before this actually happened will blow your mind. And it's like, oh, just make sure that you have somebody that acts in your behalf if something should happen that you really trust. I've always been there for him living next door. I know. And it's so sad now because I go by his house 6 times a day. And I still expect him to be sitting there in the living room. I could see him every day sitting in the living room or, cutting grass or whatever. And do I think it's money related? It's motivated by something. At first I thought You know, my brother and sister aren't used to the responsibility of taking care of someone older, and John and I are. Um, Particularly John, he's so good. Um, when John's mom started to need in-home care, he actually, I don't know if it's a home aid certificate, or anyway, he got something that he could work like a nursing home aide, and he took care of his mom at home until she was 94. And we also took care of his dad, who had cancer, until he passed away at 80. So, it's a lot of responsibility, and I don't know if they were ready for that. Um, they always kind of turned their back on anything. My dad's very strong-willed, and if he says, I don't want you doing this, or I don't need this, then growing up, and you always listen to him. But he was to the point where he needed some things that would help him around the house. Okay, so I've talked. And there's more to the story, and I will tell you on another chit chat night, but I've gotten the main part of it out. We are most certainly family and friends. Yes, I figured that you would understand, and this weird type of self-doubt about what did I do, that you guys would understand. This is just something that has happened. I mean, I think it happens. I've talked to a few people that it has happened to. Put in God's hands, and I will be praying for you. Thank you. Thank you. You can only what did Kitschy say? Let's see. You can only control you, not others. So don't waste your energy on that. Focus on what you can control. Yes. Yes. I'm understanding that now. Oh, I wonder if your brother and sister will be able to sleep. Oh, I'm sure they will. I want to help other people. I have now I'm talking to an omnibudsman. How do you say that? Omnibudsman. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's somebody that looks out for the elderly and stuff. And I just met her. She was going to go in and see if she could talk to my father, but everything moves so slow. But I thought that maybe, just maybe, I could volunteer somehow. And that would be a way of having something positive come out. Just a thought. Does your brother or sister need money and think they can get it from him? I don't want to say that. I mean, who doesn't need money, right? I mean, everybody can say they need money. My brother moved back into the area 6 months ago into remember I told you there was 2 farms originally that they bought. He's moved into that other farmhouse, and he's not paying rent or anything. Laura said, we kept my father-in-law in his home until 100. Yes. But there are many family fights about relatives that wanted him in a nursing home. Yes. Yes. They didn't even ask me if they didn't even ask me if I could do this or John could do this. We weren't even in the discussion. It was just done. And basically when we were gone. Any liens on his property? No, not that I know of. Yeah, Melissa. I've talked with Melissa about this. Yep. And Melissa, we went out to eat a couple weeks ago, and that's what kind of made me think that I should tell you guys. Melissa was so understanding. And I knew you guys would be too, and you'd be maybe there's some advice that you're giving me that I can use, or there already is. I am my dad's caregiver, as you all know. I worry if I'm making the right decisions for him. It's so hard. Yes. Yep. It was going to come to the point where he was going to have to not be driving anymore. I knew that was coming. But he even knew to go down to the restaurant every day. And he would go like at 3 o'clock when there was no traffic. He never would go if the weather was bad. So he kind of knew that he had issues. Gina. Heidi, you are not in trouble alone. The world's in complete chaos. Your family's out of sync too. And so is your husband's family. My late boyfriend's family does not even know where he's buried. Oh, well, like I said, there's more to this, but I'm not going to throw it all on you one night. All of us are praying. Good. Having an attorney lightens the load. Oh, you would think, but it's expensive. It was a $5,000 retainer. And, if we go to court, it's going to be all day long. So I'm doing some thinking, and I have several weeks here to think. Unfortunately, it happens too often to the elderly. I did not think. John said he watched something on Netflix that was similar to this situation, and that they couldn't get somebody out of a nursing home or an institution, and she should have been out. And my father shouldn't have been in that nursing home. Now, I don't know how long he could have stayed at home. You get to be 89 years old. Things start happening pretty quickly. But I'm right here. Oh, there's George. George. Good luck with all this. My grandfather always said, if you ask yourself if you did the right thing and the answer is yes, then it's all you need to know and it'll work out fine. George, you wrote me something. You wrote me an email, and I can't remember what you said, but you hit it exactly. And that lifted so much load off of me. Okay. And we'll see you tomorrow, George. You better get to bed. It gets strange when your parents' health start to fail. Don't be hard on yourself. Just try to keep doing. I am trying to do the right thing. I promise. Yeah, I consider it elder abuse. I really do. But anyway, that's really not what I wanted to talk to you on my first River Shack Chit Chat, but I wanted to get it out because I keep telling you that I've had so much going on, and I think that you should know what it was. But anyway, we get through things, and I am. So anyway, and I know that you guys are having. Sometimes you guys have issues too with your family. It's not just mine. So anyway, I look at the lighting out here. I'm going to show you. I've got these cute little. Let's see here. I got these cute little lights. Look at that. Aren't they cute? This thing gets lit up pretty good. I thought it was going to be a lot cooler out here. Excuse me. I thought it was going to be a lot cooler out here than it actually is. I may have to go back up to the house because there is not a single breeze out here, and it's pretty darn warm. But I'm going to enjoy it for a little bit tonight. This is important stuff, and what you share will help others. Yeah, maybe there's somebody out there that has had the same thing happen and know that they're not alone. Justice will eventually serve. Well, yes. What is that called? Karma, right? I don't know. I don't really wish anything bad on anybody. I just want things to work out for the best. But okay, we've been on almost an hour. Yeah, George is going to be with us tomorrow. Yes, I have faith too. And I have faith in knowing that I've done the right thing. And it really doesn't, well, as long as I know that I've done the right thing and all I can do, that's all I can do. Your brother hasn't spoken to you in 15 years and you have no idea why. Exactly. Exactly. See what I mean? I know you guys have some of the same things going on. I know about the nursing home. See, this is interesting because, and it's also ironic. And I'll tell you this little story too. And then you guys, I want you to talk too. This is supposed to be a chit chat for everybody. When I was a kid and when I first moved out here, my first job, well, my second job actually, I became a commercial underwriter. And I was like a risk manager for all the commercial business in the state of Michigan, And I worked for this insurance company. And so I had people calling me from nursing homes, and they wanted me to write their insurance. And it was so high. It was unbelievable high what these foster cares were paying for insurance. And I decided that I was going to write an insurance program for the adult foster cares, the nursing homes, and the homes for the aged. And I did. I wrote a program, and I convinced the company, and I convinced the state of Michigan that most of the adult foster care homes were safer than a normal residential home because they had so many rules they had to follow to get licensed. And I ended up getting my rates approved. The program that I put together went public. All our agents across the state started writing it, and these homes were saving half to 75% on their property and liability insurance. And so then I went to work for an agency so I could sell my own program. And then after that, I actually started my own agency, and I was the youngest woman in the state of Michigan, and I was the only agency that wrote nothing but liability and property insurance for nursing homes. I have been in so many nursing homes, and I know the rules they have to follow backwards and forwards. So, that's why it's so ironic. I would never cause a ruckus or do anything out of line. I'm more professional than that. Okay. So, George is in the house. What's George? Do you remember to get the item? I asked. Okay, well, that's something to George. Yeah. Okay, does anybody have a favorite item for tomorrow? I wonder. Have you all looked? Let me put the link down here. And I want to post that so that you know that you can go in there and bid on that. You can bid on that catalog or that Facebook album until the item actually goes up tomorrow. So there is some really cool stuff in that sale tomorrow. I tried to put half Fenton and half everything else. So I hope you find something that you like. Something you don't have. Hi, Eddie. Eddie, what do you like to collect? Are you a Fenton person, or are you just a collector? We're actually going to have an all pottery sale Tuesday night if you like pottery. So there's going to be, I'm going to post a preview of it. There's going to be Van Briggle, Roseville, Hull, everything that you can imagine in pottery will be in that sale on Tuesday night. Okay. Thanks, Debbie. So, yep, we're going to work on the pottery sale. And then upcoming, we're going to have a glowy glass sale. And I don't know when that's going to be. And then, of course, Christmas in July. July is always a busy month with sales. You collect Fenton? What do you like to collect in Fenton, Eddie? Do you have a specific color that you like? It's going to be a YouTube auction, Froggy, just like my other auctions are. However, it's slightly different because I'm an auctioneer and I'm going to call it. So you can go to the Facebook album and you can bid on an item ahead of time. When it comes up, especially if you can't be there, when the item comes up, Eileen will say the high bid from Facebook, and you'll get a 30-second music segment that you need to bid on. And then I will actually call it like an auctioneer. I'm an auctioneer, so I'll call it. So it's going to go fast. It's usually the item's up for maybe 45 seconds to a minute. And it really goes fast. There's 82 lots, I think. So we're going to move through it. And that starts at 11 tomorrow, Eastern. Strawberry. You like the inverted strawberry, Eddie? Is that the one you like? What else does somebody collect that is really strange and different? I wonder, I've seen some collections lately that were really kind of wild. Like I saw a collection of these little like corks that go in the top of bottles, and they were like different people and different animals and stuff. I've seen people that collect napkin rings, just all kinds of stuff that's kind of bizarre. Eileen will be with us tomorrow, right? 11 a.m. Eastern, Lena Ray. There's our Georgia Peach. Okay, does anybody else have any questions or want to ask anything? So excited. George will be with us tomorrow. John's going to be clerking behind the scenes. So it's going to be quite a production tomorrow. Yeah. Thank you for the care, Barb, and the hearts, Melissa, Penny, and Sherry, and the thumbs up, my husband. Okay, 11 Eastern, yes. We also have the teak stock date set, and we're working on that auction. That's going to be pretty good. For those of you that don't know, we are going to be honoring the career of Dane Frederick. And I talked to Cheryl and Dane. He is flabbergasted, very excited. And so in August, we're going to be seeing things like albums from Fenton when he worked there, different pieces that he's done. We'll do a history, a bio on him, and a lot of the pieces in the auction will be Dane's. So he is on our top 10 artists to collect. And he's also somebody who is a very private, humble person. He is such a gentleman. And I was excited to meet him last October, and I think he really deserves the recognition. So we're gonna do that. I know, Sherry. Okay, we've talked an hour. I think that's long enough. I'm real excited that my shack is getting pretty good coverage here. So maybe one day I'll pull my little table out, so you can have the river in the background, and maybe I can bring out some jewelry or whatever. I have to walk out here, and I'm telling you, it's probably three-quarters of a mile easily through the woods. Oh, thank you, Rosalind. Thank you. You think he did your Milwaukee Braves shade? Oh. Melissa has been watching George on his YouTube shopping videos. That is the way to learn, and learn quickly. George, oh my gosh, we all know he's a wealth of knowledge. George can go into, I don't know how you do it, George. He can go into these antique stores and run his camera while he's shopping. I have tried that several times. I'm so unsuccessful at that because I want to see everything. I tried it a couple times when I first got it started in YouTube, and I couldn't do it. I wanted to just see everything. I didn't want to see it behind a camera, but he does it so well. Thank you, Kitchi. Thank you. I know George is unbelievable. Oh, thank you guys. We'll see you tomorrow. It took a while. I missed stuff while I'm filming. I get zeroed in on one thing. Oh my gosh, George, there was one thing, and I can't remember what it was. It's been over a year since I saw the video, and I'm like, oh, pick it up, George. Pick it. I'm like yelling at the TV. You gotta grab that piece. Okay, I'm gonna take off and decide whether I'm staying out here tonight or not. If it gets a little cooler, I might. I really thought we'd have a breeze tonight. How do you guys getting all this heat too? It's absolutely nuts. I hope some of you are getting a cool down. But we will see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Once again, I'll post that link. Get in there and go ahead, and if you want to bid tonight, if you're going to church in the morning, or you just don't think you can be there, or maybe you aren't going to rely on your internet connection being quick enough, get in there and bid on those items tonight. Okay. You know, we have Stephen Dunn from your neck of the woods George, and that's what he said yesterday. Well, it's 75 and just beautiful here. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow at 11. Get some sleep. I'll talk to you later, guys. Have a good night. Love ya.